right, so welcome back to another Stepping Out of Confusion. Today we're going to talk about what it's like to have a surprise. Now, we all know that surprises can come in a lot of different forms. Surprises can be like, wahoo, this is so great. Or a surprise can be like, what? How did that happen? And a couple things that I've written down. I've got one of these little moleskins that kind of keep notes in, and just wanted to share with you guys something that came to me one day. So, a surprise is a moment when reality comes into a clear focus. It can wake you up from the fog you were lost in. It may unveil a picture or depth of your surroundings, your partner, an opportunity, and maybe even your talent. When you look back on that surprise, it'll start to dull a little bit, but that's from a new outlook that you've been able to acquire once, the surprise wears off. The insight or the emergence of this new observation is now obvious. And now you can ascertain the truth about the surprise. One of the greatest surprises ever in my life was finding out how much God really loves me and how much I can acknowledge Him inside of this. Every day the sun comes up, it's no surprise. What a surprise it would be if it didn't, Several times in my life, the surprises when I woke up is that somebody was no longer there. Like they went home kind of thing. Can't call them anymore. Can't do anything like that, We all have surprises we all experience, of course, death, but we also have the surprises of a breakup, or you sold your house, or you did something that is now a permanent thing that is no longer part of your life. And, that's not necessarily a surprise, but it happened through either you deciding it's going to happen, or it happened because it was ready to happen. And the way we can look at God is He's a wonderful surprise, but He's only going to come to you when you kind of meet the requirements. Like, He's always there, but He's not going to just show up because He's God. He's going to show up because you're showing up. Like any relationship, everything has to reach its maturity. It's ready to, you have the reverence for each other. Like when you meet somebody at a bar, or you meet somebody at school and you get their phone number and you kind of have little conversations, and then all of a sudden you get to hang out with them, and then boom, it's 10 years later you're married to them. As for God, He's always ready for you. He's right there. He's nowhere else. But He's waiting for you to show up. Just let that sink in for a minute. Everybody wants God to do the thing. Save the children. Don't bring the flood. But that's not really how it works. He does come. He does come when there's serious prayer, and that's the reverence part. He does come when there's a serious need, because everybody's asking Him to come. Like it says in the Bible, Jesus said, if you ask in my name, I will help you. But, everybody says, oh Jesus, or the worst nowadays is the OMG, which has no meaning, has no weight. It means nothing but just an expression. And how would that feel to you if you were an OMG? Like if you were David and, oh my David. It's kind of condescending. I don't know. I'm sure God doesn't think of it that way, but maybe He does. Look what He did to some of the people back in the days of the Old Testament. He didn't like it. And he let him know it. So there's your surprise. There's a surprise that says, you know, if you're going to disgrace me, if you're going to totally throw the mud in my face, throw me under the bus, here's how I'm going to show up. But for us nowadays, we have the option, you know, like this interaction, stepping out of confusion. It gives you an ability to look at what is accessible, which is God. And it's through Jesus. As he says, nobody can talk to the Father except through me. And it's clear. It's a clear direction. It's a clear boundary. Something I went on to write about is that God revealed, a surprise is God revealed in a package made just for you to open. The timing of this gift is up to you. It does have stipulations and boundaries and requirements, but that's all on our side of the equation. But the biggest one is trust. We have to trust God, because inside of that trust, it has love, it has truth, it has compassion, it has firm boundaries. What else has a firm boundary that you had nothing to do with? Well, let's look at the earth. Earth has pretty firm boundaries. Can't go too far outside of it. You can only get water here, you can only get food there, you can only do this there. It's a pretty good beginning point. You know, if you look at your parents, if your parents gave you boundaries as a child, it's to keep you in check. It's to make sure that you're inside the guardrails going down the road of life. You know, the earth is like keeping us inside the boundaries of the universe before eternity. Yep, that's right. We're going to talk more about that later, but there is something outside of earth. At least that's what I believe. I know there's a lot of people that believe that too. So, but let's work in these boundaries first. The boundaries of, you know, our earth. But the bottom line is that the relationship with God is a really big deal. Really big deal. And I hope that you look at the surprise you get when you start trying to create a relationship with him. It's just like the relationship you started with your best friend or your wife, your husband. Think of the surprise that you got when your child was born. Like, that was one of the biggest surprises ever in my life, was catching my daughter and nurturing her. So once you get a glimpse of what it's like to catch God, and he starts acknowledging you in a way that you can hear it, because he's always going to acknowledge you. He acknowledges you every single day. You're breathing, you're alive. You made it through your exam, you made it through whatever. Something gave you that. Sure, you had to put in all the effort, but think of all the other efforts that were made in order for you to get to that spot. Think about your relationship in every facet. Saying thanks, gratitude, trust. You might be pleasantly surprised what might happen if you look for him. But remember, you got to start with Jesus first. Get him in your heart. Talk to the Holy Spirit. God's not just going to start answering you because you call on him. He might. I don't know. I'm not putting any kind of limitation on it. That's on him. That's not me I wasn't trying to say that like from the place that it might happen. Because if you're consistent, it will happen. It's happened with, I think, just about everybody on the planet. It's your turn to step up. So that's what we got for today, and stepping out of this confusion. And I hope this made it a little bit less. Actually, a little bit more of a surprise. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Talk soon.